A lot of talk there. Los Angeles Chargers at the Tennessee Titans. The Chargers favored by 3, traveling to Tennessee. Both teams 0-1 here. Chargers coming off that disappointing 36-34 loss, was it? So the Chargers, to the Dolphins.
Yep.
And 16-15 loss for the Titans against the Saints.
Don't see that every now.
There was a lot of good stuff for both teams in there, but obviously a lot of bad too to, either not score for Tennessee or give up as much as he did for the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, one big thing is is that Ryan Tannehill now, or was that just a terrible game by him?
In a dome too.
In a dome, because Tannehill was awful. That's the worst version of Tannehill I've seen, certainly since Miami, and maybe in the NFL. That was horrific, that game.
The one other thing the phrase I've used a billion times here, I apologize for all the times I repeat myself, but the Saints defense has those games, right? The Saints defense has 4, 5, 6 games a year where they make everybody just look bad. They make the quarterback look bad.
But these were unforced problems. These were not, oh God, the defense is suffocating him. He's in trouble. It's this was just Tannehill going, what the hell? And then, as I said, it wasn't even just terrible decision, YOLO into double coverage, Nuke is up there somewhere. There was also dialed up trick play, balls in my hand, wide open, Okonkwo down the sideline. Oops, overthrew him by 5 yards. It was catastrophic in every possible way for Tannehill, not just forced errors by the defense. So I don't even think the Saints defense having one of those types of games explains what we saw from Tannehill. As yet, it is unexplained. Now, it could be Tannehill is just old and this is who he's going to be from now on. And if that's the case, the Titans are screwed.
Yeah, one good matchup to watch here. Tennessee's defensive line did a great job against the Saints. Danico Autry and Jeffrey Simmons. Arden Key I think he had 7 or 8 pressures in that game. He was among the league leaders. And against this Chargers offensive line, should be a nice little battle there.
Yep.
The Chargers, if you were drawing up their offense, we said, take a little pressure off Herbert, put a little bit more on the run game, put a little bit more throwing down the field, and less dink and dunk. They did that on paper. Herbert throwing down the field a little bit more. The run game was the most effective in the NFL last week. Austin Eckler is banged up, but it didn't matter. They ran the ball effectively last week. I don't know if they have that same kind of success against Tennessee, though. So that matchup's a good one to watch in the trenches, Tennessee's defensive line against the Chargers O-line.
No, it is. Absolutely. Tennessee's defensive line did a really good job last week. I feel like the Chargers' offensive line is much better equipped to slow them down. And then the other element is that Chargers' offensive line, it isn't just good across the board, but it was opening up some major running lanes last week. Can they do that again this week? Is that going to be a feature of this offense now? Forget for a moment the combination of Kellen Moore and Justin Herbert and the extra level of aggression maybe that they're going to get in the vertical passing game. What if they've just turned into a team that can just road grade for that run game, and Austin Eckler is going to have a ton of room every time he sets foot on the field? That makes that offense really fun to watch. And then it's dude, can they just pull something together on defense? Because week 1 was a catastrophe.
It is, man. They have so many names, and I know names don't win football games, but Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack both grading under 60. I know it was the Dolphins.
That shouldn't happen.
But you should have, Kendall Lamb had a good game at left tackle. There was one bad pass block rep against Joey Bosa.
Yeah. That's one of the worst games I can remember Joey Bosa having. Every edge rusher, every edge defender has bad games. It's not even the best guys. There's a game where they don't show up or they don't make an impact or whatever. Joey Bosa has had games where he's not made an impact. The wild card game against Jacksonville didn't do anything. But that was really bad. If you can't, Joey Bosa is supposed to be your impact defensive lineman. If he isn't, it changes the dynamic completely.
And Khalil Mack, I was trying to give him a pass for last year, and maybe it's just we've seen Von Miller have that dip and then come back, and Khalil Mack didn't look like he had it. So if Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack are not as advertised, this defense is in trouble.
Right. Khalil Mack may well.
Player number 3 doesn't matter. He had a nice pass breakup the other day, but nobody played well the other day at anything.
Khalil Mack may well be, on the decline and just simply not the player that he used to be. Joey Bosa shouldn't have that excuse and needs to bounce back.
So the other end of that is they're playing Miami. And if we're going to talk up how well Miami played and how well Tua played and how difficult it is to cover Tyreek Hill.
Totally different.
Now you're going to Tennessee, where Tannehill, whatever he is, but it's a lot easier to cover DeAndre Hopkins and friends in Tennessee than it is Miami. And it should be better. It should be easier up. I don't want to say it's easier up front because Miami's offensive line on paper shouldn't be great. But there should be an opportunity to bounce back defensively here for the Chargers. If they don't, really concerned.
Well, there's a very clear blueprint to attacking Tennessee's offense in a way that isn't there for Miami. Like, you might know that you need to stop Tyreek Hill, but the way that Miami's offense is scheming him open, it's almost impossible to deploy that. Whereas the Titans, it's like just stick 2 guys on Nuke Hopkins every play. That's where he wants to go with the ball. Like, Nuke Hopkins had 12 targets. Nobody else had more than 7, and that was Nick Westbrook-Akine, who only started getting them right at the end. It's like, it's Nuke Hopkins or nobody.
It is funny. Like, Nuke is a serious target magnet.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not like across multiple quarterbacks. And it's because he's good.
Right.
But he does, even when he's covered.
But it can be damaging.
It does urge you, right? We saw Deshaun Watson do that. We saw Kyler Murray do it. There are games where Nuke gets all the targets no matter what he's doing. And that usually works for you, but can work against you too.
Yeah, I mean, look, having a great receiver is obviously fantastic, but there is a danger in it warping your perception as a quarterback so much that you simply start ignoring what you're seeing and YOLO the ball in his direction no matter what happens. I mean, this was the debate when it came to Calvin Johnson in Detroit. When is too much? Last week was too much of to hell with it. Let's just fire it in the vague general direction of Nuke Hopkins. They were like, Tannehill was throwing the ball to Nuke and nobody else until late in the game, and it was costing him ridiculous turnover-worthy plays. I mean, if you're the Chargers and you do anything other than just strict double-team Nuke all week, at least start off the game that way and then see how it progresses. I don't know if you watched the tape from last week.
All right, one other factor here. We're talking about the Chargers defense as a whole, but their run defense in particular, that multi-year issue going up against Tennessee, Derrick Henry. Oh, man, this could be the game, right? Tennessee's back at home now. They start running it down the Chargers' throats here? Absolutely could see that happening. And the Titans are getting 3.
Yeah, you got to start that way, right? And see if the Chargers can stop the run.
Titans have a chance. Again, I like the Chargers' offensive line, but the Titans' D-line and the Titans' run game, I don't think Tannehill will be as bad as he was last week. I like the Chargers still. They're going to be fine. They'll be all right. But I think I'm leaning Tennessee this week.
Yeah,
at home, getting 3.
I don't love that run game matchup, but I think there's enough in the Chargers' favor. I think they'll neutralize Tennessee's pass rush. I think their offensive line has an advantage as well. I think their passing game is better, and I think there's a very clear blueprint to stopping Tennessee's passing game. So basically, the Chargers are better across the board, except if their run defense hasn't improved to the point where they simply can't stop Derrick Henry rattling off 4.5 yards every time he touches the ball.
Which is possible.
Which is possible and might be enough on its own to like swing the game back in the other direction. So I'm leaning to the Chargers, desperately hoping that doesn't happen.
All right, I'll take Tennessee. Don't love it, but I'll take Tennessee getting the 3.